Hello, my name is Gregor Wojnaszewski, and today I will be telling you a little bit about a very convenient interface that allows you to use the command shell directly within a Python API. Typically, you would want to use the regular Python API to program with Cloud Mesh, but sometimes you may want to test out also some of the command line functions directly within Python, and for that it's very convenient. Where do you have this information published? Well, it's on our website on mycloudmesh.org/learning. And in that, you will find our documentation. Under Cloud Mesh, we have a section that describes where to go. And in this particular section, after the setup section, we have a whole bunch of interactive examples on how do you interact with Cloud Mesh. And one of them will be the Cloud Mesh shell API, which we have here. We go to this section. In there, we have a Cloud Mesh shell for virtual machine management. And we have all the commands listed here. You can certainly browse the RST and paste and copy it into your Python programs. Or as I will do is I have already set up my local Cloud Mesh notebook server, which we have documented in another tutorial, and use that for the explanation because I can execute it that easier and it has nicer formatting. Well, one of the things that we want to do initially is we want to import the Cloud Mesh library. And as part of the Cloud Mesh library, there is a command that's called shell. And just as with a normal Unix shell, you can pass along the command, and this will be executed for you, and the results of that particular command will be printed out for you. You can also redirect the output and post processes, for example, and go line by line and do whatever you need to do with it. Often it's important to not have too much debugging, so we sometimes often just switch debugging off. For IPython notebooks, this is the case, and we switch also off log level. Well, what will happen if you, for example, were to execute this? So let me just go ahead and do this. So I'm importing this Cloud Mesh. I, for example, ask for the help command. As you can see, it takes a little bit while till this comes about and the command is being executed. I want to maybe execute the debug function and set the debug to off. And after I've done the debug, I may want to change the log level to off also. So here we have now the basic prerequisites set up. Now let's see what happens when we list the cloud. Here in this particular example, I didn't have any clouds activated, but I have already clouds activated with other commands. So what will happen here is this will be coming on. So let's just switch a cloud command on in this particular case. We switch on India. So this command has now come back, and now I can and if I want to have a selection, an interactive selection that asks me which one of the clouds I would like to add, I can just simply say cloud select. But here, when I press the cloud list, it lists me India to be true, and I know that I've activated it. Now what happens when I want to start a virtual machine? I need to be specifying some images and some flavors and which cloud I want to start the virtual machine on. So I press the start command as part of the Cloud Mesh shell submission. So as you can see, this takes a little bit longer to get established and start a cloud image. And as you can see, I have here now a cloud image being created and are being given the particular name and the status for the cloud is pending. I can refresh this status to get more information about it. One of the other things is I can also set default flavors. I can specify the flavor ID, or I can specify the name of an image and set the particular name. And when I've done that, for example, the defaults are being set appropriately. Let me just execute these commands. And as you can see, it interacts with the cloud, and my small image is selected because this is the second flavor, and here the cloud, the image with the FutureGrid Ubuntu is being selected as my default for India. If I want to refresh the list of available images, I just simply press the refresh button. If I want to list, for example, the images, I press the image button. If I want to start other virtual machines, because I have now set defaults, I can do that also. As you can see, I'm starting this command. The shell command is slower than the direct Python API because I always have to reload my configuration files. If you are using the direct API, you typically do this only at the beginning, and then the interaction is a little bit faster. However, the timings that you can see here it's fairly fast, half a second for the refresh, and then the storing of the refreshing into our database is minimal. You can then delete the virtual machine while specifying the name of the virtual machine. Here, the virtual machine name can be put in here. Other commands for deletion are available, but they need to be addressed a little bit more careful. In case you would like to customize the parameters, you can also do that. And in case you don't know how to do this, there's also the help command. So if you say help VM, it will be telling you all about the VM command. You can customize also the label specification that is being used for giving the virtual machine a name. And naturally, we have already spoken about setting up defaults. You can certainly set up also a default cloud. Here you could, for example, set up India. This would mean that if you were to execute a virtual machine start, in this particular case, that you can also leave off the cloud as a parameter. The status can be refreshed in the following way. I can just list the virtual machines and the status of them, and I will be given some information about the images, and I can also programmatically access that particular information. If I want to start multiple virtual machines, I just provide a counter behind it, and then at one point I would like to delete this. These delete functions here are very dangerous because they are working in the project and SB project group. That means if you execute it without parameter, you could be deleting all the virtual machines of your colleagues. Please do not do that. What you instead should do is you should be only using the delete function by explicitly specifying the virtual machine by name. So just don't delete the virtual machines, just make sure that you know what you're doing. Just as with the RM program, you just don't do RM star on your home directory or on your colleague's home directory that you share a group with. So you'll be needing to be a little bit more careful about it. Certainly, the virtual machine, when you query it, has also an IP address, so you can use the IP address to log in into that particular machine. You can specify different various parameters, and you can also execute commands on the machine itself, so that you can obtain some information remotely. I have gone here very quickly through these examples. They are not any different from previous examples that we demonstrated to you. That's the reason why this particular tutorial is a little bit faster. So having said this, I would like that you try this maybe out, and if these things are helpful for you, you can certainly use this particular interface. I recommend, however, if you use the Python interface, to use our mesh interface that is being explained in the next section. Thank you.